Designer's Cafe.
My arc command allows me to draw a segment of a circle defined by 3 points. When I activate this command either from the tool panel, from the keyboard using arc or A as its alias, it prompts me for the first point. So if I choose a point on the screen, that's going to be the start point of my arc. The second point is going to be a point that's going to be on the arc, and the third point is going to be the end point. When I'm drawing 3-point arcs, AutoCAD constructs them in a counterclockwise direction, which would be the positive angle on our AutoCAD compass. When I start my arc command either from the tool panel or from the keyboard, the implied is a 3-point arc, but I do have some options. If I right-click the mouse, you can see that I can choose, instead of the start point of my arc, I can choose the center point for my arc. If I choose center as an option and then choose a point, say the end of this line, I'm now choosing my arc to be drawn from that center point, and I'm determining the radius of the arc by choosing the start point. Let's say the start point of the arc, or point 2, is going to be the end of this line. And you can see the resulting rubber band of that arc being drawn from those two specifications. Now it wants me to specify the end point of my arc. I'm going to choose the end of this line, and notice how in choosing the end of this line, the arc can't actually end on that line. So it will project a line from the center point to that end point, and then project the arc to meet that line. So whenever I'm drawing arcs, I have to keep two things in mind. One is that AutoCAD always draws arcs in a counterclockwise manner. So that's when I'm picking a start point and an end point, I want to go in that direction. The second thing is that the first 2 points that I pick are going to limit how the arc can be created. Just because I pick the end point of this line, that doesn't mean that my arc can actually go over and meet that end point based on the radius that I gave it to begin with. If I want to explore the options that I have for the sequence of drawing arcs, I can use the flyout menu from the toolbar, and I can see a series of 3 selection options that I have for completing my arc command. Let's look at one. For example, center start angle would be a common one that I would use. When I choose this option, it prompts me for the center point of my arc. I'm going to choose the end point of this line, and now it wants the start point of the arc. I'll choose the end point of this line. And now it wants the included angle from the start to the end of the arc. Now, keep in mind that this is not measuring from our AutoCAD compass 0 point, but rather it's referencing to the relative end or start point of my arc. So if I put in 90 degrees, the arc that's created, if I drew a line from its end point to the center to its start point, the angle between those two lines would be 90 degrees. The most confusion or difficulty that comes in drawing arcs in AutoCAD has to do with the sequence that you choose the points, and the fact that AutoCAD only draws arcs in a counterclockwise direction. So say, for example, I wanted to create an arc where I would use the intersection of these two lines as the center point, and my arc would go from the end point of this line to the end point of this line. To do that, I'm going to use my flyout menu and choose a center start end sequence. For my center point, I'll choose the intersection of those two lines. And now for my start point, I'm going to choose the end of this line. And for my end point, I'm going to choose the end of this line. But you notice that because AutoCAD draws in a counterclockwise direction, the arc that I'm going to create is going to be on the outside and not on the inside of my angle. So the sequence becomes important, and I have to plan for that when I'm drawing. I'm going to cancel this command, and start it again, this time choosing the center point and then choosing this endpoint as my start, knowing that my arc will be drawn counterclockwise and end over here. And now I have the arc going in the direction that I want it to go. Now, one more option that I have is my continue. When I click on continue, it allows me to start from the end of my last entity and draw an arc. And in this case, I'm specifying the end point of the next arc segment. And again, it's drawing this in a counterclockwise manner. So depending on where I choose that, I will get an arc that's connected to the last point. Now, this not only works with connecting an arc to another arc, but if I had a straight line, I can choose my arc continue and draw an arc that's attached to my last entity.